I did say that. I did. If you want to try to... Hey!
We're back. Season 2, Year 2 of the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show, presented by Duke Cannon, here live at the LEXUS Championship Series. A couple familiar faces.
Come on, baby, we're back.
We got Kev from TLN. How we feeling, fellas? How we doing?
Oh, man, it's awesome to be back. I'll tell you that. Awesome. Duke Cannon building us this amazing set.
Yeah, let's harp on that right there.
Come on, look at this thing.
For Duke Cannon. They got the boys smelling fresh.
Yep.
I mean, look at the slogan. Work hard, smell better. And they're presenting us with 4 episodes live here from Championship Series, so stay tuned for that. But give us a little preview. What are we expecting?
Yeah, well, obviously, PLL Championship Series is back. Yep. Awesome time of the year. We got the start of the WLL, a new era in women's lacrosse, which is awesome. We're talking college lacrosse. We got an interview with Liam Entenmann.
Yeah.
And then, of course, again, thank you to Duke Cannon. We got a new segment, Cold Tub Hot Takes. Mitch and Dukes are hopping in the cold tub. Mitch, we don't have footies for him, but he's gonna
I haven't hopped in a cold tub since I graduated, so you just stay tuned. That's all I got to say. But let's hop into quarter 1 and talk about Champ Series and a little college lax for you guys. Let's talk preview. The 4 teams that are here. Kev, why don't you break us down?
Well, the 4 teams that we got here, we got the Whip Snakes.
Yep.
They're back for the first time. That's what I'm looking forward
Yes,
to. They were
same.
so bad.
Shout
the
out.
first time.
So bad.
They were over. They were
Easy
over,
Boston
weren't they? They were
Cannons.
over.
Over. Did not win a single
bad.
game. And
Did not
Stagnita
win.
did not like sixes.
Did not like sixes, and I'd like to see how he makes adjustments. And I think that what you saw even before coming into here, how he made adjustments to the roster,
Yes.
the personnel that he wants.
We got the Archers. They're here every year.
Yes.
They've never
They look
missed
good.
one.
They look good.
The Atlas. And then, of course, the reigning champs, the Cannons.
Yes.
We're talking reigning Champ Series champs.
Yep.
Yes, don't forget about
Haven't
it.
got it done in the summer yet.
I'm gonna give you guys a quick little preview. I'm a Cannons guy this week.
You are.
This
I'm a Cannons guy this week. This week after that, I'm back to my whips.
Time out. Time out. Rewind. Did anybody just hear, all right, easy Cannons?
No, but this week I think they can go back to back.
You got Cannons.
We'll hop
But you're
into
a whips guy through and
I'm
through.
a whips guy through and through, but you know, in the seat, I'm a broadcaster. Got to be neutral. I'm going to pick the best team that I think is going to win. I think that's going to be the Cannons. Kev's going to dive into the rule changes, but I think it's going to affect this year and definitely would have affected last year's game. But let's talk on the Cannons real quick. Hoagie, why don't you break us down about the Cannons and why you think they're going to be successful?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they won last year, right? So, you got guys, the Asher Nolting, the bully, kind of inside, big body guy, built for this game. I always remember about that play he made last year in the Water Dogs game, falling down, perfect right on the stick to Drenner for the goal in overtime, or the late fourth at some point. Him, and then obviously Marcus Holman, the shooting from the outside. He's been doing it for years. So it'll be interesting. I think obviously they have the experience. They won it last year. They know how to get it done. Can they do it again? Let's see.
Yeah.
But again, Archers, they're the champs from the summer. I could see them having a great champ series. The Whips, I think they're going to show up. They're not going to go over again. I can guarantee that. And then the Atlas, to me, is like you never know what you're really getting with them. Are they going to show up? Are they not? So I'm interested to see kind of how they play.
Let's stay on the Cannons real quick, and let's talk Marcus Holman. Him in my eyes is my front runner for the Golden Stick Award. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that's
yeah. And I know that might be. I don't know if you even call that a sleeper pick. I feel like that's one of the guys up there.
It would be so disrespectful.
Yeah,
you can't call it a sleeper pick.
Well, I mean, out of that response, I'm like, wait a minute, are we not on the same page?
It's a nice response. I think there's some other people out there right now.
Who's your Golden Stick?
Do you want me to say it right now?
Yeah.
Spoilers? Mac O'Keefe.
I got Mac O'Keefe too.
Well, hold on. Before we go into Mac O'Keefe, he's my guy for the overall, but I don't think Marcus Holman has the best chance on his own team. I think
I
that
agree.
Campbell definitely. Matt
Campbell's got a hammer.
Okay.
Kevin and me are locked in right now.
If you watch last fall during the USA and Indy, the sixes,
Yeah.
Matt Campbell was the best sixes player.
Yeah.
And
He
with the
looked good.
2-point arc,
Yeah,
It's
game
over.
He's gonna let
It's game
that thing
over.
fly.
You want another sleeper for the Cannons? It might also be both of them?
Who?
I'll give it to you. Chris Eslanian.
Okay. All right. They're going to be
Fellow
counting on
Italian.
Talk about someone that can sling it from deep, like kind of has Campbell attributes. I think he's someone that could sneaky put up 20-plus goals.
Yeah.
Wow.
No,
Yeah.
I kind of see it. Obviously, no Matt Cav, and then Asher just being an absolute bully.
Yeah.
It looks good.
You know
He's got a
what
short-
Asher's gonna do every time.
You know what Asher's going to do. Big dog. Big
Get
dog.
Asher stuck
Is
on
he a
defense.
liability on the defensive end?
No.
He's first
What
one
are we
off.
thinking?
First one
Yeah,
off.
he's the first one off.
the first one off.
Coach Pehlke's where Coach Staggs is, a.k.a. Coach Stud. I'm saying get to the box.
We talking Luka Doncic. You know, someone that's gonna put up. You
No
know, 10
defense.
Yeah, 10
Zero
point-
defense.
10 points a game. Maybe lets up 9.
Yeah, and absolute no defense. Do Cannons have the best athletic roster here? We're talking athletes. This is a good breaking point here.
I do love the roster.
Yeah.
They have a good roster.
Top to bottom, it looks great. I will say, I don't know if they're most athletic. I think they're the grittiest. When you look at some of the two-way guys, they got Trainer, Carter Parlett from Notre Dame. Keep an eye on him. Bubba Fairman and Ethan Rawl is a converted long pole playing short stick here. Yesterday, I was at practice. They were running drills of a guy starting at GLE and a guy up top. It was just ripping shots, and they were practicing soaking shots.
Yeah. Wow.
Like,
no, I watched all the practices yesterday. They were the only ones that ran that drill.
Soaking shots.
Like literally a guy taking a step down, and you were like turning to get hit, and then like next guy up.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like they were ready to go. Bubba Fairman too.
That's
I like him, a two-way guy.
Worst nightmare.
Yeah, that is my worst nightmare. I'll be honest. And people forget Bubba Fairman, great offensive midi.
Yes.
At Maryland, he's playing defensive midi in the league.
Yeah,
so again,
kind of made for sixes.
Yeah, no, literally.
Yeah.
Probably the perfect position.
On the hack-ups, too, you couldn't see because the jerseys have sleeves, but Mitch wore, like, the pads that the youth kids wear. You know, that has, like, the extra
Hoagie was sniffing jock straps. Let's not forget that. Let's go to the Utah Archers here. You had this down here. Archers, new best franchise in the league.
Yeah, no.
If they win, are they the new best franchise?
I've said since the inception of the league, since we started, the Whip Snakes are almost like the Patriots of the league. They've been like the premier franchise in terms of wins. You know, every year being competitive.
That's a thinking dude's face right there. I like that.
If the Archers win this championship series, have they overtaken the Whip Snakes as the best franchise in the PLL? I think so.
I think it's already pretty close.
Yeah.
But would you still say the Whips
as
are
of
the top tier?
today, the Whips still won the best franchise in the league.
No, I think right now. They went head-to-head in the championship in the
Yeah, but
when
you're talking perception, you can lose a year or two. We're talking like
trophy
the premier program in the PLL, the premier team of all time, the Whips, are the Archers, if they win this champ series, the clear and cut best franchise in the league.
Yeah, especially because the Archers will be the only team that won both.
So, both. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
So I think it's a weird question.
Right.
I mean,
it's a valid question, though.
It's a valid question. I mean, this is the first year that you're going to have Rambo on the Whips.
Yeah.
You know, the first time they rolled it around, they didn't have Zed, they didn't have Rambo, so it's definitely a weird position to be in. But I think the Whip Snakes losing in the championship, you can't be hurt by losing in the championship game. It wasn't.
It doesn't hurt unless you're playing the other team that we're talking about.
But then let's talk about the Archers in the beginning when the Whip Snakes were winning the championships. They would be in first place. You know,
yeah, because
the
Archers didn't have the postseason success early on, but they've been the most steady franchise since the start in terms of
in the regular season.
Regular season.
You can say the same thing about the Whip Snakes, though. Just they won the championships in the beginning. The Archers always were known to choke.
Yeah.
No, it's fair. I mean, it's definitely something to consider moving forward. We'll see.
Can we talk about Mac, though?
Yeah.
It is so close.
Yeah, it's very close. I mean, this could be the deciding factor.
I agree.
You know, whichever team wins is going to kind of put themselves higher. But obviously, you know, star archer Grant Met not playing. Jackson Morrill. Jackson Morrill in for him. And Mac O'Keefe's back.
Yeah. I want to talk about Mac O'Keefe. I know you do too.
Kev's fired up about Mac. Let's go.
All right, so my take on Mac O'Keefe is he's this year's Kieran McCardle.
Yeah.
Last year, if you look, Kieran McCardle was a former NLL guy who came in, and it just looked too easy for him, for the Water Dogs.
Yeah.
Wins the Golden Stick. Mac O'Keefe coming in, former NLL guy, you know he can rip it from 13 yards. Like, he's got a better outside
shot. I mean, I think the fans wanted to see the Grant, Mac connection we saw in Penn State, we've seen in the regular season, but it's going to be something special. Not playing NLS year, first-time Champ Series. His game is kind of correlated, probably better for Champ Series than maybe PLL.
I would say it probably is even better than Kieran McCardle's just because of the stretch shooting.
Yep.
But we were kind of talking about this before. Like, I just wonder, without Grant, who's the next best? Like, who's the next best offensive threat on this roster?
No Schreiber and
right.
Some of these other guys are out. So I mean, you look at the Utah Archers. It's not the same roster they had.
I like the roster though too. Like even like Piper Bond, Connor Marr, playing two-way kind of guys.
Gritty guys, Bo Peterson,
Mason Woodward with a shorty. I mean, he's going to be, I think, an elite player for them as well.
Let's also we're forgetting someone, Maine, that's a pretty good distributor and has won some championships back in his day. It's Matt Moore.
Yeah.
You know, you got Matt Moore. Cole Williams, when he played in the championship series 2 years ago, he was one of the best players, I think. One of the most underrated players in the champ series. Big body, using a shorty, can really work his way around those shorties. And then one of my favorite players when it comes to sixes is Ryan Ogden.
Yeah. He'll be nasty.
My
only concern with Moore is he's had injury problems. How does he stack up for a whole week of this?
This is tough.
That's going to be grueling.
OTAs a little bit for football. I mean, this is it.
I know Bates probably works his guys. You know, you look at those practices over the years. You know he's working them.
Yeah, he's working those dogs.
Working them. But
I think one guy I'm excited to see though, Jack Runkle.
Oh, baby.
God.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. I mean, we don't know this. The serious facts here was on the 2012 Loyola team, national champions, graduated in 2014. Might have played some pro, some MLL in there, and now he just showed back up.
When do we think the last time he picked up a stick was?
Does anybody know?
Well, I know
Probably like a couple weeks ago when he was practicing for this.
He got the call. Like,
can you still run? Yes, I'm good.
okay,
to go.
we're
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I just know he does a lot of content, and he does like goalie training, and he's a coach for I think USA lacrosse at some level.
Yeah.
So he's in the game, but I think he's just more been in the coaching realm.
Yeah.
And I mean, Washuta is going to be the starter, I'm pretty sure, and then you see them mix up in Champ Series because goalies get beat up pretty bad, but I think we're going to see him in some action.
Yeah, 100%.
I think he's going to be nasty in it. I think it's like riding the bike for this guy. I mean, he let in 3 goals against Maryland in the national
It's like the good old days. Eric loves being those Loyola Greyhounds, baby. Come on.
He's also like, when you talk about goalie in Champ Series, like it's completely different. Like 40% is really good.
Yeah, 100%.
And so if you remember the first Champ Series, Sean Scanoni was awesome.
Yes.
Probably just because he took up so much of the net. Jack Runkle is probably the biggest person here.
Yes, yeah. And it's going to be exciting to see.
I just want to touch on Mac O'Keefe, too, and just what he's been able to do since coming into the league. 3-time champ, 2-time All-Star, 52 goals since he became a starter at attack on the Archers. He's won championships with the Chaos, 1 championship with the Chaos, 2 with the Archers. Now he gets one if he wins the championship.
I'm pretty sure he's never not played in a championship, right?
He hasn't.
Since he's been in the PLL.
So if you're looking at that, are we looking at an almost Patrick Mahomes start to a career? The amount of championships that he'd win in a condensed period of time is insane.
Yeah.
It's actually crazy.
All he does is win.
Yeah, all he does is win.
One more X factor we got to shout out is Bates, because if you think about last regular PLL season in the like Tom Schreiber goes down, we all kind of wrote off the Archers.
Yeah,
and then
I mean, it's Atlas, everything.
They just played the best team.
Yeah.
Ball, and I think that's what they're going to have to do here. It's going to be Mac is the guy, and the rest has got to be like the team filling in.
Yeah, this is the team that I'm most looking forward to watching this week.
Yeah,
it's my pick.
Oh,
I want to. Can I spoil that?
Spoil it, get it out.
That's my Champ Series.
That's my Champ Series pick. And let me say this: the biggest question mark I have surrounding this pick is the goaltending position. Top to bottom, when you're talking about field players, this is the most confident I've been on a team that I've seen so far.
Okay. I like that. Interesting.
Yeah,
let's hop to the whips real quick. We're going to have 𝐓𝐇𝐄 Rambo on episode 2 for an interview. Stay tuned for that. But their roster, their flow, we talked about Coach Stud, Coach Staggs. Not a huge fan of 6s, but the whips are here. They're ready to go. General thoughts on the whips?
No, I'm interested to see kind of how they play. Obviously, we talked about it. They were 0 for 4 last time. Didn't get a win here. Staggs is probably one of the most competitive coaches I know, at least. He's not going to let that happen again. So obviously 6s are a different game than what we've seen this summer, but I think I'm looking for the whips to build off that momentum. Kind of they had late at the end of the year this past summer, going all the way to the championship. Honestly, there was a point in the PLL playoff season last year. I was like, they're not losing. They were so hot.
No one was that hot on them, and then we saw them maybe the last couple games of the season were like
getting going.
Baltimore.
They're getting back. Baltimore. They clicked.
It was the must win for the Water Dogs.
When they clicked.
Must win for the Water Dogs to keep their playoff chances alive. You know, everyone was like, the Dogs don't die. They'll come back. You know, they were losing a lot of those 1-goal games. The Whips just didn't beat them. It was like an embarrassing Super Bowl loss that the Chiefs got last night. That's what it felt like.
I think they're a sleeper for sure in this thing. Again, we don't know what to expect.
They got Brad Smith back, and they also have TJ Malone, which I think his game correlates well. Never really had a box background. Does that worry you at all, Kev?
It doesn't necessarily worry me. When I look at the whips, I look at the new faces that weren't here last time when they were when the 2 that are really big difference makers. Ryan Conrad, he's a great 6s player. He's played for Team USA in 2022 in the World Games. I think he's going to be he's going to be their go-to guy. And then you also got 𝐓𝐇𝐄, who won with the Chrome the first year. I think like him, Rambo, Brad Smith got to find the fountain of youth a little bit here, running around all week. And then you mentioned TJ Malone. I think he'll be a big player for them.
And Rambo, we got to see how Rambo's. Rambo's in the Champ Series now.
Yeah. First time not playing.
I love
box
this
for him.
roster. Top to bottom, I love it.
And they're third favorite odds. Yeah, they're
really.
When I'm thinking about the most intriguing team, you know, Archers I think are the team that top to bottom I love. This roster that they constructed, there's some players on there that are new faces that are really intriguing to me. Tate Gallagher, Dylan Palinetti, your boy Anjo.
I was about to say.
Friend of the program.
Friend of the program. Grew up with that cat. Jacob Angelus is going to be one of the most underrated guys coming in. And after this week, we're going to be like, wow. I'll predict it now. I guarantee he's on a team full-time in this 2025 season.
They need one of those guys that you just mentioned needs to be this year's Ronan Jacoby.
100%.
The Ronan Jacoby story is amazing. I guarantee we see that with one player this year.
You always do.
I wrote this down about just some of these players that I'm really looking forward to. Like Tate Gallagher, he's a guy that went to Richmond, played at Penn State, played offensive midi, transitioned to short stick D midi, tall, athletic, I think can really tear it up in the sixes games. Dylan Pallinetti, Stony Brook kid, all league in American East, CAA. Under Armour All-American. Went to Maryland, redshirted, then transferred home to Stony Brook. He's a Long Island kid, can absolutely shoot the thing. Those are two guys that I think are very intriguing. Tate Gallagher is probably my player that I think can most be like Ronan Jacoby.
I think the roster's definitely there for the whips,
100%.
but we just haven't seen it yet in this format.
We haven't seen it in this area, and it's a different game. It is. It's such a different game.
It'll be interesting to see
Roman,
the whips.
Just even, sorry to touch on it more, like just Roman Puglisi, Ryan Conrad, these are two-way guys that have done it.
Puglisi's a workhorse.
Like Jack Corus, we saw what he could do.
Chorus.
The whole thing is just very intriguing to me.
It'll be interesting. Let's touch lastly on the New York Atlas. Costabile.
I think if you look at the New York Atlas, I was on the field for practice yesterday. The first thing that jumps off the page is they got size.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah. They got Costabile, Miles Jones, Dylan Malloy. Yeah. Those are monsters.
Yes.
The big thing here, though, for the Atlas to have a chance, Xander Dixon needs to be in the Golden Stick running.
Slim Reaper.
He's got to be.
Does it worry you, though, Shelley's not playing with the Dixon play?
Not only that, no Teat either.
Yes.
And if you look at last season, Shelley and Teat probably assisted over 70%.
I would say 90. Over 90%.
I was being conservative with 70, but almost all of them. So he's got to be the guy, and he's got to find that chemistry with the three that I just named: Costabile, Miles Jones, and Malloy.
Yeah, I even think 𝐓𝐇𝐄 could be can work to be a facilitator.
Sleeper.
He's a guy that can work at X, get that invert going. He did it at Maryland. One sleeper pick that I think could be the Xander Dixon, someone that needs to get in the Golden Stick running, Dylan Malloy.
Yeah.
He was somebody that was really clutch in that Chrome run a couple of years ago in the first championship series. I think Dylan Malloy's
last
a sleeper.
year he
was rocking the OG Warrior Burn cleats week 1 in Albany. He got those off eBay. Those were like 2006.
Yeah.
I used to have those. Those are like my first cleats I ever had. I remember having a couple pair of those. I'm on the sideline. I'm like, he's going to pull a Zion in these.
Zion. Literally a Zion. Bust the knee.
And Tyler Carpenter, too. He had a ton of points as a pole last year playing shorty.
That's my biggest pick to obviously
player.
rock a shorty in Champ Series. I think he's going to ball out.
I thought that was interesting. The Atlas were the only team that bringing 2 long poles converted to shorties with Carpenter and Kobe Smith.
Hated it.
Everyone had one, also except for I think the Whips are the only team that don't have a converted long pole on their team. You got Mason Woodward on the Archer,
they didn't bring Colin either,
and Ethan Rawl on the Cannon.
Yeah.
So I always think that's a little funky. I was watching Mason Woodward yesterday. He looked normal. He looked all right, but I'm always curious how those long poles are going to look. I think the defense is obviously going to be there,
but the shooting is something they're so not used to.
I'll say Ethan Rawl was a player that really, like last year, he adjusted to it fast, well, and that's my pick for somebody that can like really adjust again.
Great player.
100%. Well, that wraps up the 4 teams, and we'll continue to dive in them the rest of this week here live at the LEXUS Championship Series. Dukes, hit us with some betting facts. I think all the viewers out there want to put some lines down. What should they be looking at?
Okay.
Dukes is rocking the laptop. He's getting
it
down.
Going, that thing.
He's trying to win you guys some money, so.
Yeah.
So, okay. Thank you to DraftKings.
Yep.
They have odds for the PLL Championship Series.
Okay.
All right. Favorites, Utah Archers, plus
They're the favorites.
Plus 260. Tied.
With?
The New York Atlas, plus 260.
Wow.
I was going to say the Atlas would be
Wait,
last.
where are the Cannons on here?
Third, I think.
Third, plus 270. So there's a minor
Whips
difference.
are the last.
Whips are fourth.
Whips, but the Whips, again, like
That
we
makes
talked about,
sense.
they're plus 300.
Yep.
They're plus 300, so it's not a big drop-off.
Yeah.
There's a lot of unknown when it comes to the Whips.
Yep.
A lot of unknown.
Were we putting any coin down?
I'm going to have,
Never forget his cannons bet at Gillette last year.
Yeah, he was stressing that out.
I want to say the Archers are going to win it all. I don't like the juice. Maybe I'll wait for the championship game if they're there.
Okay.
I'm going to chase the plus money. I'm going to buy the stock on the whip stakes. I think it's really going to come together this year.
Okay.
I think Staggs the first year maybe was a little too lackadaisical in his construction of the roster. Didn't really care about the sixes games. Now that the Olympics are like this is the style of the Olympics.
Yep.
This is what's going to grow the game.
Yep.
You see a team like Japan internationally, they come on, it's the great neutralizer of the sport. There's no specialists. Japan came on and is immediately a contender in the sixes game.
Yep.
They have great stick skills. Really came along strong. They were competing at a high level. So I think that Staggs had to adapt, and he's going to take this seriously. I think he constructed the roster a lot better. I think there's great athletes out there. They have Rambo. They have Rambo. You give me Rambo and 𝐓𝐇𝐄 plus 300?
Come
Take
on.
it to the bank, baby.
Yeah, come on.
Take it to the bank. I love that.
M&T Bank.
Thank you,
Take it to the
DraftKings.
bank. DraftKings, shout out. Kev, you know the rulings this year, a little bit different, and this could really affect maybe some of these playoff games later in the week. Run us down what new rules we need to expect.
Yeah, so there's a few new rule changes. The biggest one is overtime.
Yeah.
So last year, if you remember, the Cannons win in overtime against the Water Dogs. Sudden death, Metcalf, iconic moment.
Yes.
That's not going to happen anymore. Unless we go to double overtime. Then it goes to sudden death.
Yep.
But the first overtime, we're going to play the whole thing out. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that, first of all? I love sudden death overtime.
Yeah,
same.
I was going to say, I think that's one of the best things we have in our sport is that in overtime, it's like every single second you're like on the tip of your toes.
Yes.
Kind of like that Atlas Whip Snakes game in the summer was like literally the best lacrosse game I've ever seen live.
Right.
The back and forth action.
But why? Because it went back and
Because
forth.
anytime
Because it was
next time that ball's in, it's it. That's game.
Yeah, but it was extended, and we got lucky last year with the Cannons that it was Cannons had the ball,
Yep.
it went back,
Back.
we got a couple saves,
back
and then
again.
it was there was a build and a rise in anticipation.
Yeah.
A 6 is overtime where it's over in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like
Yeah.
that.
That's what they want to avoid.
So you
I'm
like the
pretty
rule?
sure.
I love the ruling.
Interesting, okay.
I like keeping it, how it was last year. 'Cause one of the best. I think it was the best game, pro
Yeah.
lacrosse game I've been to live.
Yeah.
Yep.
Off the top of my head. But yeah, when it comes to 6s, these overtimes, like I just don't think it can be sudden death.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
almost like how the NFL had to adapt with the coin toss.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's his biggest fears of coin toss.
Yeah.
Because to the Chiefs. You know what I'm talking about over there, Pehlke?
No idea. Keep going.
He has no idea.
Do you actually not?
I have no idea.
Oh,
what
my
So you know
God.
the NFL has the rule in
Let me
overtime.
mansplain.
So in the NFL, the rule is in overtime.
Yeah.
Whoever, if you score a touchdown. On
Oh, yeah,
first
the other
possession,
team
you
gets the
win.
ball again. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Now
It's
you have to-
score.
Now
Give the
you
ball
do.
back.
It used
Yeah.
to be if you score a touchdown.
Yeah, it
the
was like
game's
the Josh
over.
Allen rule.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah,
right.
It
Like-
takes him a second to turn on his football brain.
Yeah. I'm talking about. I'm a lax rat.
But the other rules, a couple of other ones are shortened time from 20 seconds to 10 seconds for the ball to cross midfield on clears. I think that's going to lead to more riding,
100%.
maybe some pressing when you need the ball back late in the games. Another one. This puts more emphasis on the pool play.
Yes. This is my favorite rule.
You like this one?
Yeah.
Number 1 seed goes straight to the championship.
Yep.
And then the 4th seed is eliminated.
Yes.
So
And explain why. I feel like we're on the same page here. Why that's a good now.
well, you can't sandbag the round robin games.
Yeah.
They matter.
Yeah.
You got to watch. You got to tune in.
Yeah.
And
you got to play good. 'Cause
Right.
In my eyes, not to say this happened last year, but did it really matter if you won or lost in the
No,
round
'cause
robin?
Everyone gets into the
Everyone
playoffs.
gets to the
Yeah.
playoffs.
So
The
I
whole
like
strategy
that
changes.
now. At first I didn't, but I didn't realize, and I thought about it, and I like that now because obviously, the number 1 seed gets to go straight to the championship. But if you're not playing good, you don't deserve to go to the playoffs, and I think that's why the rule
I
works.
agree.
Yeah.
I think that's a good rule, and it
I love
puts
it.
way more emphasis on the whole week as opposed to just the end of the week. And the last rule change, all penalties now
Yes.
are non-releasable.
Yep.
If you remember last year,
The Water
the
Dogs.
Cannons and the Water Dogs, the Cannons' whole strategy was we're just going to be more physical than you. And, Michael Sowers unfortunately gets knocked out of the game early. That changed the entire complexion of that championship game.
Yep.
Now that penalties are all non-releasable,
Right.
it doesn't seem worth it to
Yeah.
be risking a 1 or a
Absolutely
2 minute
not.
penalty like that
Yep.
because you could just rack it up.
Yeah.
I do love the shot clock.
Yeah.
I just think that the creativity these coaches can come up with in the press and ride, especially with the press. How similar will it be to a basketball press?
Yeah.
Will they come out with
Yeah.
different zones? I'm excited to see the creativity that they
Yeah,
have. On
this
that
There's
is
going to be a lot of new, which is awesome. So make sure you're
Strategic.
tuning in and
Yeah.
watching every game because we're going to see
Yeah, you're going to see some cool
a lot
stuff.
of new stuff. Yeah.
And dudes, I want you to take point here. It's anyone's game. We look at these rosters. We just talk about betting. It's anyone's game to win. I think that's why the Champ Series in the sport of 6s now is so exciting.
Yeah, when you look at the players that have played in the past couple of years, that this is a tryout
Yeah.
for everybody,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
This is tryout for players that are looking to work
Vets
their way.
and rookies.
Like Ronan Jacoby,
Yeah.
working his way onto a roster. Brendan
Yep.
Krebs, he got a chance 2 years ago. He worked his way onto a roster. But let's just stop pretending. This is now for the Olympics.
Yeah.
This is a tryout for the coaches if they want to coach in the Olympics, right? If they want to be a part of Team USA in the future. This is a tryout for all the players. This is a landscape that they have. If they're not invited to Indy
Yeah.
with Liam Entenmann or the players that are on Team USA, this is their tryout to show that they can play for Team USA.
100%.
So it's a tryout for everybody, and everybody should be taking this as serious as it is.
Especially if you're a young guy, too.
Yeah.
Right.
You're going to be hitting your prime in 2028.
Yeah.
This is your tryout right here.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And that's why I'm excited.
And also for the guys that are 28 right now, you want to show. You want to show like this is who I am.
Exactly.
I ain't going anywhere. I'm Tom Brady.
They're pulling up at 31 to try out. They're like,
Legendary.
dude, looking like 2025 when I was playing in the Champ Series.
Yeah, literally.
Pull up the
Throwing
20.
it
Yeah,
back.
pull up the
I like
25
that.
Champ Series film.
Yeah.
Should have
Show
seen
the
me back
highlights.
then.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, we got an interview with Liam Entenmann, so stay tuned for that because I think he's around our age where
Yeah.
in 2028 it's prime time for him
Prime
to
time.
absolutely dominate.
Yeah, he's like my age now.
Look at
Prime.
Dukes. He's
Look
in
at
his
me.
prime.
He's like me 5 years ago.
I love that. Let's talk a little WLL preview. I'm excited. It's obviously the first time this is ever even happening. Let's talk Boston guard firsthand. Hogan, you want to take us up?
No, I
north?
mean, obviously, this is first off WLL. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah,
This is
super
like
exciting.
a new
For the
era
sport, right? I
of
think,
the sport of lacrosse.
it's really cool.
Adding women in, I think, is going to be fantastic for the sport. The growth
Fantastic.
of the game. Yeah,
I mean, can I be the first? I'm a huge woman guy. I love women.
Do you?
I love
What's
women.
your favorite type?
Hey, you know who loves women, Dukes?
This guy.
Why do I like women?
You always talk about him, man.
Okay, interesting. So back to the champs here, or back to WLL Boston guard. Obviously,
Yeah, I
very
mean,
BC.
You got
and Notre
Charlotte
Dame heavy.
North. I mean, she's the king of the sport
Yeah.
right now in the women's game, right? I mean, a hammer of a shot. I would not want to get hit by one of her shots. I'll say that right now.
But we saw the Dobson Charlotte North video. Dukes used to play goalie back in the day. I'm pretty sure Kev and Alex and these guys at TLN tried to make it happen where Charlotte was shooting on Dukes. And he didn't say no. I want to put it out there.
How many would you save, Dukes,
No,
you think?
dude, she be dodging me for years.
Yeah.
She is
She
dodging me. Pull up the tweets. I tweeted at her so many times to do it. She won't do it.
Oh,
That's
wow.
interesting.
Which
Interesting.
maybe the women actually hate me. I love the women. Maybe the women
Or
hate
she's
me.
just
But
like-
I'll still support to the day I die.
Okay.
I'm the Rob Lowe meme when it comes to this WLL.
Yeah.
I'm wearing the
You're
WLL.
a league fan.
I'm a
Dukes
league
was
fan.
there at NASDAQ day one. Don't forget it.
Yeah, people forget.
People forget.
I supported the women.
Yes.
I support still.
I like that.
But,
Be honest though. She shot 93 miles per hour at the All-Star game.
Mitch
do it,
never
Kev.
broke 80.
That's
in
what I'm
4
asking.
years.
Kev.
Yeah.
I'm asking.
Mitch never
If
broke
I had
80
a
in
proper
4 years of
warm-up
college
and a
lacrosse.
stick with more whip, I would
Mitch
put...
would have to move in 2
No,
more yards.
Mitch's highest shot, I think, clock was like 76 at a camp this summer. But
Shout out
like,
the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse experience.
I mean, it was blue corners at Ohio State, low and away.
Yeah, low
no
and away, that's
speed,
what we did.
Placement.
Let's also just call a spade. Everybody knows who Caitlin Clark is.
yes.
Yeah.
Charlotte North is our Caitlin.
Yes,
absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a
100%.
doubt there at all. New York Charging. This is more of a Cuse Northwestern squad. Izzy Skane. What are we feeling about, these girls on the New York squad, getting it going for their squad first time ever?
If you go back to last year's national championship,
Yes.
Northwestern, there's a heavy Northwestern influence on this team, and
Yes.
Syracuse as well. Izzy Skane and 𝐓𝐇𝐄 𝐋𝐀𝐂𝐑𝐄.
Yeah.
They were an incredible duo.
Yep.
They lose to BC in the final. Shea Dolce makes an amazing save. That was 𝐓𝐇𝐄 𝐋𝐀𝐂𝐑𝐄 who fakes to Izzy Skane, throws it. They get saved. That's the last time they played together.
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
So, this is their chance to play together and win together. And I think actually New York and Boston are probably the front runners. if you
Yes.
ask me.
Yeah.
And a good story, too, with the goalie for New York.
Yeah.
La Liberty, only D3 player in the WLL. Obviously took her other year at Northwestern, won a national championship, and then now playing at WL, which is also sick.
Started at Tufts,
Yeah.
then with Northwestern, won a national championship, and I think one of the only girls here that played D3.
I think they said she was the only. I'm not
Probably.
I'm
Yeah,
not sure,
I think
but
so. Yeah.
Let me just say that this is my pick to win the WLL.
You got the charging?
You're charging.
Well, I love this roster up and down. Izzy Skane is my favorite player.
What do they say? The Skane train or something?
Skane
Yeah.
train.
She's my favorite. She is like that. That is my not Caitlin Clark, because Charlotte North has, but that's my favorite player to watch in the WLL.
So is this like a Mahomes, Josh Allen?
I
with,
think that
Izzy
should-
Skane and Charlotte North. Like Charlotte
there's
North's
an
Mahomes, but right
I don't
behind.
know
Let's
enough.
just
cut it right in the middle.
Let me ask you guys.
Yeah, like a
It's a
Mahomes,
unspoken
Josh
of
Allen.
rivalry.
Let me ask you guys this. I don't know enough of the facts here. Who's actually better?
Izzy Skane.
Izzy Skane broke Charlotte North's goals record. So
Really?
Izzy Skane has more goals in college. Izzy Skane is a great all-around player. Not that Charlotte isn't, but I think what most people think about Charlotte North is the 8-meter, the rip. She shoots it.
And she's got the Caitlin Clark effect. I would say
Right.
from the public standpoint, if you ask the public, they
Charlotte
would
North.
say Charlotte.
Everyone
no
says
one
Charlotte.
ever saw Charlotte or a woman's player shoot the ball like that.
That was Charlotte. That was Charlotte talking.
Bombs are gonna light up the 𝐓𝐇𝐄 𝐋𝐂𝐂𝐑𝐄 set.
Easy, ladies.
No one ever saw a girl play like her.
Yes.
Izzy Skane is just a really good all-around player, physical, strong. She's very good.
It's almost like LeBron, maybe not LeBron and Steph, but he's almost like LeBron and Steph.
Yeah.
Charlotte is changing the way that women's lacrosse is looked at.
Yes,
right.
correct.
Where Izzy Skane might be the better overall player.
Yeah. Let's talk. She's like the Mike Trout.
Hardware, real quick. Izzy has 2 Tourtons.
They both have 2 Tuartons. They've won the last 4. Those 2 have combined.
And they both have 1 natty each, right?
Yeah.
So
no, Izzy's got 2, I thought.
2?
No, they lost last year.
No, they both have 1,
before.
so they're even there.
Oh, even on hardware. Interesting.
So maybe they.
But Izzy's got the point record.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, if you don't count that, this is the tiebreaker.
This is a tiebreaker.
You got so many players in this New York team. Like Kylie Ohlmiller, who I think led the woman in the points, right?
She still has the record for all-time points.
Belle Smith, who's been at BC forever.
Yeah. I feel bad that she wasn't on the Boston team.
I know, I was just thinking about that.
And then you got the Megs, who have the 2 Meg shows, Meg Carney, Meg Tyrell, and then you got Emma Tyrell from Syracuse. Like these, you're teaming up.
Yeah.
Northwestern, Syracuse.
The team's loaded.
And Syracuse. Syracuse is one of those teams that's been waiting to almost like break through to that national championship level.
100%.
But they've always had the individual stars.
Exactly. Yeah. So very, very intriguing roster to me.
And this is game 1. Game 1 of the WLL, the inaugural game, charging and guard. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
Obviously, 2 of the teams that, like Kev, you said, are probably the front runners to win this whole thing. But Maryland Charm, next squad. Obviously, UMD heavy on the women's side. Alex Holman. So I think there's some storyline there as well. And Maryland is a women's program. Like we're gonna have 𝐓𝐇𝐄 and Rambo on here. But when 𝐓𝐇𝐄 and Rambo won it in 2017, so did the women's team from Maryland as well. So they're definitely not far off. But how are we feeling about the Charm?
I also think the coolest thing too about that, Taylor Cummings is coming back to be the head coach.
I know, which is
legend.
exciting.
She's like one of the, I want to say like a Charlotte North transcendent women's player that I remember when we were in middle school and college. She was kind of like the big star of the sport.
Yep.
So seeing her coach will also be really cool to see. And again, just anytime there's a Maryland team involved, they're gritty. They're going to get after it.
Yeah, 100%.
So.
Before we had TLN or all these lacrosse pages that can make reels for Charlotte North, Taylor Cummings was her.
Yeah, she was her.
She was her. She was Royal Farms Player of the Game. Yeah, every single time.
Royal Farms Player of the Game.
No, but I think that not the sad part. It's just the evolution of.
It's great where the sport is.
Is you ask any of these young girls, they probably don't even know who she is.
Oh, they know who they are. Oh, the young girls now, you're thinking?
Yeah. I don't think so.
I mean, if they grow up in the social media
I think she's like the Paul Rabel of women's lacrosse.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, but again, this young generation,
everyone knows Paul Rabel. Everyone knows her, I think. I think they do.
I don't think so.
There's just
we should find out.
There's a difference between 480 highlights.
Yeah.
It's just different.
And last
disrespect, but
California Palms, very UNC heavy, where we got a little flavor in there. Shout out Kate Dev, social media influencer and goalie for the Palms this champ series. But let's talk Palms, Kev. Biggest takeaway, obviously very big UNC heavy there.
It is very big UNC heavy. One player that everyone should watch, and she should stick out. You should notice her, Isabella Peterson.
Yep.
She played for JMU. She's the greatest player in JMU history.
Yep.
She was a Tuarton finalist a couple years ago. She's 6 feet tall.
Yep.
So when you're watching the Palms game and you see a 6 foot tall blonde girl and you're wondering who that is, that's Isabella Peterson.
Yep.
And she just towers over the competition. And she's quiet, kind of keeps to herself a little bit, but when you watch her play, she'll stand out.
I'm watching the Palms practice right. I see Isabella Peterson over there. She's the one that's 6 foot tall, Hoagie. He was on the sideline, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
I was behind her.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't want to be if she's running downhill, man. She would run you over.
Yeah, she would. She would.
I was behind her in the food line last night. I was looking up like that. I was like, oh, God.
And they got Ali Mastriani, the captain.
New Jersey.
And then Sammy Jo Tracy, too. I feel like she's been playing forever as well.
I know Maggie Bill was a Long Island girl. I think she grew up in Garden City.
Shout out RP3.
Yeah. Shout out RP3.
She ever shoot on you back home during break?
No. I think she transferred high schools, but I think she was a two-sport athlete at UNC. I think soccer and lacrosse. So hell of an athlete out there.
WLL, I'm
excited. I mean, it's
gonna be cool to see.
It's come to this point, and it's interesting. Like we're gonna see a lot of women's fans here tomorrow, and their idols are gonna be on the fields playing.
And
it's about time.
It's exciting too. I mean, I don't watch a ton of women's games, but I know every year at the end of the year, NCAA tournament, like Final Four championship, I watch those games. And they're so exciting.
Yeah, they're exciting. So I'm excited to see. That's
I also like just one more point on this, like. Guys who are usually turned off by women's lacrosse because of the differences in the rules. The great thing about sixes is it's merged rules.
Yes.
It's going to look almost identical to the men's game.
Yeah, so I'm excited. But I think great segue, Hoagie, talking about the Final Four. Let's talk college men's lacrosse preview. Hoagie, take us away on some big pillars for you. So far this season, we just wrapped up week 2.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think for me, the biggest takeaways I've seen so far is, obviously the team with the best resume so far is Johns Hopkins. I mean, coming out 3 top 20 wins, good. 2 top 10 wins. I love what Peter Milliman's really done with that team. Coach K on defense.
Yep.
That team's tough. They're physical. They're smart. They play a certain brand of ball.
Yep.
I don't know if they call it Hopkins ball or whatever, but, they don't have the flashy #1 recruit, but, everyone does their job. They face off well. They're stout in goal. Not to Luke Stout, but they're good in goal.
Yeah.
So they've been impressive to me. Syracuse, too, obviously. This was like their year. We talked about it last year. Can they take that next step up? Everyone, Michael Leo, Joey Spallina, those guys are upperclassmen now. They've looked fantastic through 2. They completely dismantled Jacksonville in a week 1 game that you thought Galloway would have those boys ready to go as an alum there.
Yeah.
Completely dismantled them.
That was a crazy opening
And then
game.
obviously North Carolina, Petromala, Owen Duffy. Those guys look great. They blew out Michigan week 1.
Yeah.
And they have all the recipes to me to actually be back in terms of John Fracaro and net.
Yep.
Brady Wambach, I think, had the highest percentage at the X last year. And
real
face-off guy. Those guys can make not just like, oh, are they back? Like those guys could go like championship weekend good if they live out to their potential. That's the 3 kind of takeaways I had.
Yeah, I guess I'll touch on that really quick just because people are probably staring at me like through the camera being like, doesn't that guy think that Bresci should be fired? I took it back. People forget that I'm a co-host.
After 1 game.
People, no. I took it back before the season.
Did you?
They
beat Duke. I forgot. They beat Duke.
Whoa.
They beat Duke.
No. People forget. This isn't my only lacrosse podcast.
He's got 2 top 100 podcasts.
I corner the market. So people that listen to both podcasts will be like, Dukes, you were early to this. I took it back. Owen Duffy is such a good lacrosse player.
He looked
UNC,
really good.
Petromala, everybody over there. I said Paul Barton's one of my favorite players in the country to watch. Brady Wambach is incredible. Owen Duffy is so good that it's going to convince people that Joe Bresci's still a good coach. That's how good a player.
You're still on that train.
Owen Duffy. I'm not on any train. I'm on Owen Duffy as the savior.
And I thought Bill Belichick was a coach.
Let me say this. Bill Belichick's got a hell of a strategy. He knows TLN's going to be posting them. Every recruit, he's like, this is exposure.
I honestly
wonder.
they're
going to have him out there like Lars
I honestly feel like our posts are muddying the waters on like, do fans actually think Belichick is a coach? We're like putting him with edits of lacrosse players.
There's going to come a time where TLN is going to take like the highest compliment, where there's going to be like a centel, like an NBA centel where it's TLN making up players going.
I can't wait.
ESPN's going to tweet out like Bill Belichick on the field with like a Lars Tiffany wooden stick at Doris. TLN's going to tweet it, and ESPN's going to take it and say like per the lacrosse network.
Fake account.
But no, I'm all in on Bresci and UNC this year, to be honest. I think Owen Duffy's an incredible player, and on the same topic, I'm also buying back in on Georgetown this year.
Yeah,
Duffy's got that
kind of brings us to our first point.
He's ready to go.
The team that pressed you guys the most? You said Hopkins. You said UNC. For me, it's UNC as well. The team that has impressed me the most, obviously we're only in week 2, but UNC looked good. That Michigan-UNC game beforehand, I think guys on TLN, on Instagram, even potentially me, I had Michigan winning that. And it didn't go that way.
It's hard to see Michigan, though,
UNC.
because Michigan, to me, has always, not had the best regular seasons in a way. They've kind of just, like, turned it on for 3 days in the Big Ten tournament, and then we've kind of flipped our perception on Michigan.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're building a great program, but I'm interested to see kind of where they are, a couple weeks down the line, how good they actually are.
Yeah. Who's the team that's impressed you so far?
So I'm with you on Hopkins and Syracuse. They've definitely been the 2 that impressed me the most. Syracuse, definitely. And one note I got to make about them is they've only allowed 10 goals through their first 2 games, which is the fewest they've allowed since 2009, which is the last time they won the national championship.
Yeah.
So, but I also got to point out, it's so hard to make these conclusions this early in the season because you point out Hopkins got 3 wins against top 20 opponents, and then there's Syracuse who's playing like Vermont and Jacksonville and blowing them out, and it looks great and it's amazing. And Joey Spallina, 10 points, but like it's really hard to gauge those 2 things against each other because Hopkins, we haven't seen that explosive performance from them yet.
Yeah.
It's also very weird with Hopkins. You play who you play, and they've had the most opportunities out of every team.
Yes.
Now, does that mean that they are the best team?
No.
I don't know.
But if you look at Hopkins' schedule for this year, it's absurd.
It's
like, I
insane.
want you to pop it up on the screen right now.
It's
They played Denver. They played Georgetown.
They did Denver,
Towson.
Georgetown. No, Denver, Towson, Georgetown, Loyola, Syracuse, Virginia. They play one more ACC, I believe, and then it's all big UNC, and then it's all Big Ten.
It's wild. You got the whole
There's not one game on there.
I'm looking at the schedule, and I don't even know if I could fact check him. Someone's like, what do you say?
No, but literally, like that's got to be the highest ranking RPI.
I mean, if you're Milliman, it's why not, right? It's challenge yourself.
Yeah.
As anything that we've learned.
And as we played at the same level, like when it comes down to Donna in the final, in the selection show Sunday, RPI.
What we've learned is you need to play tough competition in college lacrosse if you want to make it in the tournament. But going 10-3 with a weak schedule is not going to get you in. You'll see a 6-6 team. You're like, how the hell is a 6-6 team in the tournament safely?
Yeah.
Look at their wins. Look at their RPI.
Yeah, and RPI is everything.
Especially when it looks to me like last year we saw with the ACC a few years ago with the Ivy League, like how like your conference rivals will like win an out-of-conference game and it floats your whole conference.
Yes.
And so, like, if you're Hopkins, I wouldn't even want to rely on, no offense, the rest of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I would, I'd want to schedule those games myself so that my RPI.
Yeah, I was talking this about Mitch, too. One with us at Ohio State when we were playing, there was weeks where we would lose a game and our RPI, it would be better than us beating some other team in a way to help us get in.
Yeah.
The Big Ten, too, it's interesting to see kind of what happens with the Big Ten this year. I talked to Mitch about this a little bit off the camera. I think there could be a way where they get only 2 teams in the tournament.
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
In the way, I mean, if I look down.
Not as strong as it is here.
No, I mean, if you look down.
Because Ohio State lost to Utah.
No, if you looked at the breakdown.
It doesn't help.
It does not help.
We got 8 at-large teams making the field, correct?
Yeah.
So you think the ACC doesn't get an automatic bid. So we're saying UNC, we think they're back. Everyone from the ACC is getting in. That's
a threat.
That's 5 spots right there. So
is everyone in the ACC getting in?
No, probably not. There's probably going to be
someone's going to be left out.
And also, it's going to be controversial. And the Ivy seems to be
going to walk.
Could it be Virginia?
Who's going to walk into
I
this
think
whole
it's going to
thing?
be Virginia.
Could it be Virginia?
Donna's going to make a decision.
And you know who she's going to favor?
Yeah.
It's going to be now. The ACC got screwed a couple years ago. Don't be surprised if the Big Ten gets screwed this year with the Ivy League team.
That's why I brought that up to Mitch. That's why I have a valid point.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the good part is Notre Dame obviously looks good this year, and Liam's about to hop in this chair for an interview with him. Let's dive right into the Liam Entenmann interview. Before we hop into our interview with Liam Entenmann, a quick word from our presenting sponsor. 𝐓𝐇𝐄 makes high-quality grooming goods for hardworking men. The type of men who put in an honest effort at work while taking care of their kids or playing lacrosse. From head to toe, each product helps a guy get ready for a long day or clean up after one. Use code PLL15 on 𝐓𝐇𝐄 for 15% off your order. Or find 𝐓𝐇𝐄 grooming goods at Walmart, Target, and Amazon. Clap it up. We got Liam Entenmann on the show. Let's go. Let's go. Not the first Entenmann on the show.
We had
Mama Entenmann on.
Mama Entenmann
What was that like hearing about that? Obviously, you didn't see her obviously before the game and after the game, but how did you hear about it?
I didn't hear about it for over a day. We were back in South Bend after the celebration Monday night, and obviously everything happened so quickly. There was a lot of celebrating, a lot of travel, and then I was back at my buddy's house the day after Memorial Day. And someone texted me saying, "Did you know that your mom was on the post-game show in the parking lot?" I didn't even know that show happened at all because I don't know if you guys remember this, but we were all heading out there, and then there was like that lightning thing. So I never even made it out there to see my family or my friends because it was kind of unfortunate.
Don't worry, we did it for you.
Dude, you guys saw them.
That one cop was trying to steal the show too. He was like looking at the cameras.
It was an unreal experience. It was an unreal experience.
It was really cool. I'm bummed I missed it. But
and we had her. She made an appearance. Remember, she came week 1 to Albany. She comes over. You guys remember me? We're like,
Mama Entenmann. I love that. But the last time I think we actually saw you in person was on the field post-game national championship. Mm-hmm. You came up to the fellows and you were like, "Should have picked Notre Dame." I like that.
Some of us.
Yeah, some of us.
Some of us on the right side of history.
I think I had Maryland. Did you have Maryland?
I had Maryland too.
Yeah, but I like that. Staying true to your roots.
Yeah, it was a great experience, and it was. That was the last time I saw you guys. There was a lot going on that week.
The church.
Do you keep receipts on people?
Yeah.
Like, do you like as Notre Dame? Like, I'm a petty guy.
Yeah.
Someone doubts me, I hold those receipts. Miles, our friend Miles, friend of the program, he swears by it that you walked by him and he said, "Should have picked Virginia." This kid has been thinking about it since that day.
Miles said that you went up to him and was like, "Virginia, Han," staring down. And he's talked about that. He's been bugging. I think he's still bugging.
Yeah.
I did say that. I did. I'll admit to that. I was kind of, not going to lie, I was kind of in the moment.
Oh, I love that. I hope every teammate's doing that.
Yeah. I just happened to, I was very intentionally staying off of social media that entire weekend, and I was probably just watching some random YouTube video of something completely not related to lacrosse, and it was like suggested for you, and it says like, it was like Notre Dame with an X. I was like, that's an interesting title. So or whatever it was in the picture.
Thumbnail,
thumbnail. So I was like, that's an interesting take. So I made sure to say something. But that's kind of unlike me in this setting. But
dude, it's
when the adrenaline,
that was all time.
No, I mean we were in the tunnel.
Yeah.
I think was it after the semifinal game or going into the national championship?
No, it was after you guys
Pat and Chris
just
are
beat
like,
Denver.
You guys didn't pick us. You guys didn't pick us.
No,
Yeah.
even your equipment manager came up to me and was like, Denver, huh? I was like, damn, the bad team.
Your whole team looked at me after the national championship, just to make your national championship about me for a second. They all looked at me like, ball knower, ball knower.
Yeah. They had Dukes.
Validation was through the
they
roof.
were saying that to you in the handshake line, like going down the line.
Ball knower. But going off that, I want to bring it back to 2022. Okay, you guys missed the tournament. I think that you guys potentially could have, looking back at history, maybe three-peated. You know, that team was good, but Ohio State kept you out of it. These guys here.
The good guys.
Yeah, the good guys. And I know the big topic on social media that year was Donna. What does the name Donna mean to you?
Do you like Donna?
If you had, you're not a Notre Dame anymore, what does Donna mean to you and that 2022 season?
I mean, definitely was a tough end of the season. Obviously was not something that we agreed with. Overall, it was really honestly bigger than one team getting ahead of us. It was more so like the big picture. We thought our body of work was definitely deserving of making the tournament.
Right.
Obviously, we had some losses early on in the season. Started off, I think it was 1-3 or 2-4. So obviously, didn't really do our part. But tough end of the season. But I think that hindsight 2020 was one of the better things that's ever happened to the program because we just I think we finally put everything together and obviously had an incredible end of my career and hopefully obviously to continue with this year. And that's the goal.
We were sweating that too, Mitch. I remember we all. Like obviously, it was like us, you guys, Duke, down the line,
Harvard,
and at Harvard, and I vividly remember sitting at the house when you guys beat Duke pretty soundly. I think the day before, and I was like, all right, Notre Dame's getting in, so it's between us, Duke, or Harvard.
Yeah.
And then
we were the last team.
When they put Harvard on the screen, I was like, bro.
Donna loves the Ivies.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I was rowing the boat for you guys. Yeah. But let's fast forward.
Game too.
Let's fast forward to some happier times, right? You guys then went into the 2023 season, and I was like, you guys are gonna be on a revenge tour the entire year.
Yep.
And revenge you guys did. You beat the Ohio State University 16-3.
It was one of our worst losses.
One of those 3 goals, that guy scored on you. Can you tell me how he scored that goal?
Look down, shot high. Oh wow! I remember. It's weird.
He remembers it right.
I don't keep receipts necessarily, but I remember every goal that was ever scored against me, and I remember that one really well, just like pretty much all the other ones.
Yeah.
And I mean it was good Barry by you, man. But yeah, good win for the Irish.
Were
on
boys
that
chirping
one.
you after the game, like when you guys were having beers, like dude, you can't let me.
Like the YouTuber scored on you.
Yeah.
I don't really remember that part, but it was.
I know it's them. I got chirped about it all the time, but I
really?
just felt like, I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I felt like if I scored on you, it was just like the worst thing you wanted. I felt like at the end of the day, you just knew when the ball was in the back of the net, you're like, that's going to be online somewhere.
It wasn't beating the Rutgers clip, though, so you got lucky on that.
Yeah, but that gave Pehlke probably walking out of the stadium a little bit extra mojo.
I mean, that goal
tell the story
Mitch,
after.
That goal gave Mitch like a week's worth of content to post on Reels.
A couple reels here and there. Yeah. But I remember, tell the story after the game.
Yeah, so after the game, obviously, bad loss for us. Yeah, really bad. And we're seeing our parents, whatever, picking up our backup sticks to go to that locker room that Arlotta has across the thing. And we're in 2 lines. And I remember turning to Mitch and being like, dude, that was a sick goal. Because it was a nice goal. Roll back and finish.
Glazing is crazy, by the way.
No, but it was I was just like, dude, that was a sick goal. Let's go. Whatever. And I turned over my shoulder, and me and Mitch turned, and Coach Meyer is just looking at us from the desk there. He's like, what the f*** you guys just say? And me and Mitch are like, sorry. I would never shit my pants so hard. Me and you were dead silent.
I know, we were like, holy shit.
And then we're walking back too after, I guess for the people who don't know, the away team had a lot of the locker rooms in the basketball arena. I think you guys had us in.
Yeah, I heard they have a weird. I've never seen that setup.
Obviously,
but I heard
we're in that little thing in the corner, and we're walking back, and there's all these little kids Mitch, can I get a picture? Our director of ops got to be sorry, nope, can't.
And then the kid's like, Ohio State sucks.
This little 4th grader. Yeah.
So funny though.
So you're playing sixes right now.
Yep.
How does this differ from the field? Seeing a shot on the field versus seeing shots in sixes. Do you like seeing the volume of shots, or how does it affect you as a goalie? Your arc, everything.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a different game. I honestly think in some ways, maybe not in every way, there's actually more similarities between the PLL and sixes than there are between college and the PLL.
Wow.
Which might be a
like
bit of a hot take, but it's just the volume of shots. The shot clock itself is I think pretty comparable. I think out here it's 30, which it's the same thing as 32 off of a face-off in the PLL. So the tempo is very similar. Obviously, the people shooting it's the same between, or generally speaking, the same between sixes and then regular field in the PLL. Definitely have to play a little bit differently. I think the biggest thing is that the biggest difference between, at least from a goalie's perspective, is getting rewarded or having the team being rewarded for a shot missing the cage. So it's a lot more about giving them the least amount of net to shoot at as possible, necessarily than making a save. You know what I mean? If they miss the cage, like, all right, well, we have the ball back, right? So.
Are you still chasing out though?
Oh yeah, it's just instinctual. Sometimes I not necessarily dive for the ball, but I'm like, oh, I have to throw my hand out or something, and realizing it's just completely not part of the not part of the game, but been doing it for long enough. Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
You armoring up at all? Like getting any extra equipment?
Here down, it's just bundled
bruises,
up. I think bruises, but more padding than usual.
So you're doing more padding.
Definitely more padding.
I saw that Phipps photo from
legendary Phipps photo. Yeah,
I saw that.
You want to be looking like that next week.
You doing nothing on shins or calves?
I have shins on. I have thighs and I mean knees more. So not as much as for padding, but just kind of support.
And you got the sweatpants, so you can hide the swag.
Yeah,
so
I got
you can armor up, and no one's gonna trip you on no contact.
I usually
pull them up a little bit.
I usually roll them up. I'm just keeping them
keeping them down.
Yeah, letting the hair down a little bit this week, but
that'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of part of it. It's honestly for me, it's not even as much about the pain piece of it as much as like, oh, if I get a bruise and I can't move as well in 5 days, when we're playing in 5 days, hopefully, or whatever it is, the championship in 7 days, like, I want to be able to put my best foot forward when to get the game out of the most. So it's really not as much about like, oh, I don't want to be in pain. It's more so like, okay, if my legs are welted up, I can't step to the ball.
It's gonna limit you.
There's gonna be some third grade goalie playing summer league that's gonna be like wearing the like thigh pads. It's gonna be like, Liam Entenmann did it.
I bundled up when I was younger. I think if anyone judges that, then I'd say, how about you hop in the goal, right?
Yeah.
Especially the younger guys. I think like. Or a little bit self-conscious about it at times, but looking back at it, if it makes you a better goalie,
right?
100%.
It's all about the drip nowadays.
How do you? So you've like at Notre Dame, you've always been someone that I feel like gave up a goal against average 10 or less. In the PLL, in sixes especially, you're probably gonna let up 10 goals or more, like eventually. How do you shift your mentality from that? Like as moving on from the next play, like not holding on to that because sixes is so fast, you just got to move on. So.
Yeah, I think this format more than anything, like what I've found is like I've accepted. I think that every goalie like has this like subconscious or subliminal hope, like, oh, I hope this is the game where I pinch a shutout, and I'm like, this is not happening this week. You know what I mean? Like that's just not happening. And I honestly think that I've found at least so far, even in the practice or the drills and practice and the scrimmaging, like. Just accepting that some are going to go in no matter how much I try is honestly giving me more freedom to be creative and to try different things out. And I've found that it's helped me. Obviously, my, the numbers or the percentages or whatever it is not going to necessarily be a field game or a college game. But I think honestly, like going back to the forcing shots wide or whatever it might be, just doing my job, and it really is like this week more than anything, like just about the team winning.
Right.
100%.
And when it comes to goalie, I heard that you can juggle.
Yeah, I learned from a YouTube video.
We need to put that on the screen.
About a decade ago.
Is that pregame ritual?
Yeah, my pregame ritual is psychotic.
So
it's just, I have not.
You can teach us.
Wait. Give us a pregame ritual real quick. What is it?
I do a bunch of mobility before. I've definitely found, especially as I've gotten. I mean, I know I'm 24, but it's older, I guess. But after 5 years of college lacrosse, I'll say that.
COVID old.
COVID old, right. Doing a lot of mobility, not just like static stretching, but mobility, opening the hips up, lower back up, all those things. So definitely do a lot of that before games and before practices, and then doing the juggling, and I'm doing this like one drill I do where I have two balls and just drop them and just kind of like really develop that hand-eye. And I just think it kind of gets me in that zone, it gets me in that mode, and I think that I've done it for such a long time. It's like, okay, now it's time to compete. Like I kind of just doing those things kind of gets me in that, flip that switch. Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, as somebody who is not as good of a goalie as you, I'll be the first one to say that. I cannot juggle.
Mm-hmm.
Could you use the 𝐓𝐇𝐄 𝐋𝐀𝐂𝐑𝐿 products and juggle and maybe show Mitch.
Show Mitch. Teach Mitch how to juggle.
I'll try.
Can we get Liam some hair products?
Mitch, to your right, there's the 3 pomades.
They're all the same, I'll give her a shot. We'll see.
Let's see if this can work. Right. Get him in the middle here.
Yeah, it's going to be a little tougher. It's a little tougher. It's tougher with the, when they're not as round, but you can.
Mitch, you think you can try?
Who do you think would be the best? I'm going to be honest. I don't think I
My
could
coordination's so bad.
As a Fogo, though?
Dude, I'm clumsy as hell.
All right, let me test it
I'll try, but.
If you could teach me how to do them real quick.
I'll try
What's the way to do it?
It's tough to. The way that I started out was just like it was really. It's kind of a boring way to start out, but it's kind of like walk before you run type thing, and you start with one, you toss it up, and you have to kind of like aim for the same spot every time.
Yep.
And try to. It's more in the wrist versus like throwing it up with your arm. So doing that, and then eventually, I don't know if it'll happen in the next whenever we have 10 minutes left or so, but eventually if you keep doing that and then you throw 2 up at the same time and try to reach the same level.
See if you can get one.
If you want to try to. That's pretty good.
We got one.
I'm not gonna lie, that hair product looks a lot better in your hair.
Yeah.
I actually don't wear hair product. I swear to God. Fun fact. Hey, Duke Cannon, work hard to smell better. All right, next question.
We need a Duke Cannon comb for you.
Yeah, I know,
they got to get a comb line.
Literally. Indy training camp. What was that like?
It was great. That was my first. We played in fall ball. We did 6s with Notre Dame, but that kind of just turned into West Jenny drill pretty quickly. Guys just cherry picking and stuff, because everyone was just so tired, and we probably had to lift before that, so everyone was just gassed. But USA was the first time I really got exposed to 6s. The people we had there, it was among the best players in the world, or some of the best players ever, which was really cool to be a part of that and very humbling. Just right off the top of the head, Sowers, Ament, Holman, Conrad. Conrad's a great 2-way guy. And then it was me and Colin were the 2 goalies. Colin Kurse were the 2 goalies. So that was a really cool experience, just getting to know those guys, because obviously when in the summers at the PLL, you kind of, you see each other in the hotels, or you see each other after the games and stuff, but you kind of just hang out with your team, which 100%. Is I think how it should be. But you really, got to kind of intermingle with everybody and get to know those guys better as people, which was really cool. Guys that I've looked up to, guys that I've watched play for a really long time, some of which guys I actually competed against in college, and obviously that past summer in the pros. So just getting to know those guys was really cool. And then obviously for the 6s format itself, really being exposed to that for the first time, learning what works, learning what doesn't work. I think honestly, even though I did say my playing style changes somewhat, my mentality is the same. If you get too kind of intense or jacked up for it, you kind of don't really allow yourself. You don't really allow yourself to kind of slow the mind down. And then if you put too much pressure on yourself, and you let in a few goals, which is going to happen. You kind of get it kind of snowballs. So I think having that experience before I came here is going to be hopefully be very beneficial for me, to be able to know the kind of the workings within the game. Obviously, the 2-point arc was not a thing with the USA, and that's going to be a different factor with guys like O'Keefe and Holman and 𝐓𝐇𝐄 and a lot more people than just
pretty good players.
Pretty decent players, decent shooters. You got a handful of good guys here, but I think just having that experience, knowing just even the little things like field dimension, shot clock, box, where the different boxes are, and just knowing how it goes, I think will be really hopefully beneficial for me.
Too, and obviously the Olympics is going to have 6s, which is awesome. You want to be on that team. That'll be awesome to represent Team USA. So how are you kind of approaching this, using this as a little bit of practice? You're still new in the 6s game, right? So, using this as a little bit of, a tune-up, I'd say, to get ready to try out and be the goalie for USA in 28. How are you kind of approaching this Champ Series? Obviously, you want to win, but it's also a learning experience, too, on the back end as well.
I'd be lying if I said that didn't enter my mind in some capacity. Obviously, my first and by far my primary goal is to help this team win. It's really not even about I'm going to showcase to other people what I can do in this format for the sake of USA. That's really that piece of it, not necessarily, but definitely learning how to play the game and learning the ins and outs of the game, and in this format is definitely something I'm trying to get better and better at, and hopefully through my performance, hopefully help my team win a championship in the Champ Series.
Yeah.
But yeah, that being on the horizon is really exciting. I mean, I'd be 27 years old, so 24 right now, so it's not crazy down the road. It's not something that I'm necessarily like revolving my life around. I mean, I've been very fortunate to have some great experiences already, and I don't think I'd look back on my career and be bitter about it if I was not able to make that team. But certainly, if I was able to make that team, that'd be an incredible honor, and be able to kind of really pioneer the way for lacrosse into the Olympics, and hopefully increase the popularity of it globally, and do a lot of good things for the sport, especially in the goalie position, which I think is very tight knit and very connected. So I think being able to be one of those two guys would be one of the most incredible honors of my life, for sure. Especially wearing USA, across my chest, would be a very humbling thing in that format. Especially considering there hasn't really been a team in the Olympics beforehand, to my knowledge. Maybe
1904.
Yeah, maybe a while back, but
I think
prehistoric.
Paul Rabel has that date.
The dinosaur era, the prehistoric age.
Yeah. So it's definitely it's kind of a unique blend of like, I would obviously more than anything love to be on that team, but I am realizing that it is 3 years away, 3.5 years away, and I don't want to like be hyper focused on something such a far ways away, and just kind of just really try to enjoy the moment. And honestly, the moment right now is trying to win a championship for the Bulls. That's the first and foremost for me right now. Yep.
And just so you know, you're saying that you might be 27 when that time rolls around. You're just reaching the peak of life.
Are you 30?
You are just reaching your peak of life at 27.
Dude, how old are you?
Are you 30?
About to be 27. And I'm reaching my peak, baby.
I'll be honest, NT, I think 27 for the Olympics is probably as prime as you can get.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that'd be great.
It's like your golden era right there.
I've heard that's the
you
peak.
Got the years
the
under your
peak
belt.
of men is 27. So
Look at me, I'm freaking killing
it. Look at Duke. He's a peak male. He's running the New York City Marathon.
Yeah, we'll try third time's a charm, baby. But no, going off that, I know playing in the sixes, the Olympics, growing the game.
Yep.
Have you picked anyone's brain, that played it in the PLL sixes or played in the World Championship Game sixes to kind of catch yourself up to speed?
Yeah, so I'm actually, me and Timmy Troutner were the two goalies for the Atlas this past summer. Timmy wasn't able to come, so it's me and JC Higginbotham from Bellarmine. So, but I talked to Timmy a good amount about, again, similar things I said to you, like the anglings and strategies, and he was really helpful with that. And obviously, he's an Atlas guy, so he wants to see us do well and see me do well as well. So him more than anybody else. Obviously, me and Colin kind of went back and forth, picking each other's brains when we were in Indy. That was more so for USA. Obviously, we're competing against each other now, but obviously, Colin, I have a ton of respect for him. He's one of my good buddies in the sport. So I'd say those two guys. Just
going off that relationship really quick, I think that a lot of people saw how Timmy played when you were, sitting out to start your rookie year. It sounds like you guys have a really good relationship. How was that transition for you and Timmy in the relationship in that locker room? Because I think that he showed how great of a teammate he was.
Yeah, 100%.
Kind of stepping aside.
He was great. He was great. I really could not have asked for much more out of him as a teammate. Obviously, that was a bit of a unique situation as far as, he's a vet in the league. I was coming off of a long season. I didn't get the training camp. He's incredible.
He was incredible.
I mean, it was definitely a bit of a weird situation for just the team in general. But I mean, he had a great start to the year.
And we even talked about it on the show last year. We were like, obviously draft. Timmy's kind of on his way out, but those first couple games he played lights out. So
he was great, and I was not bitter about that at all. I mean, I think people were asking me, "Hey, are you doing all right?" I was like, "Yeah, like we're 4-0. Like, what's there to be mad about?"
Hottest team in the league,
and
there was really not an argument there. Like,
no,
you know how weird of a situation it has to be as like, look, I hate even saying this word, lacrosse media member. It's like awkward for us because we're like, we don't know what you do either. Like, Timmy's unbelievable. Like, there's a lot of good goalies in this league. There's only a handful of teams, 2 goalies on each roster. The guys that are going to play are going to be really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, he was balling out, and I would like to think that he felt my support, which I tried to do my best job to to be supportive of him. And I really and truly was not like bitter or frustrated at all. I was like, he's playing great and we're winning games. Like, if I were to be mad about that is as selfish as it could get.
Right. Teammate.
Eventually got my opportunity, and then they decided to kind of go with me for the remainder of the season, and he was great. He was very supportive. I mean, he and I were roommates on a lot of away trips, so there was really no animosity, and there still isn't any animosity, which I think is really good. And I guess to your guys' point, like, there's a lot of really good goalies in the league, and no one's spot is ever guaranteed. I never look at my spot as being like, oh, set in stone because of whatever reason. Like I know that I have to earn that every single day, certainly at training camp and in practice and in games. So I think that he and I guess just going back to the original question, I mean, we have a great relationship. We talk a lot, and excited, obviously not looking past this week, but very excited for the summer.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you see that all the time with no spot in the goalie position in this league. Goalie of the years could then become.
Oh, it's crazy.
Just off a couple of weeks because the season's so short compared to like even college. But just so you know, I am the self-proclaimed e-bug of the PLL. I'm the emergency backup goalie.
Okay.
So
I thought you were signed with
that's
Beans.
good to know.
He's signed with Beans. They got a contract.
I'm the owner.
You're under contract. You're signed with Beans.
You got the contract.
I'm the owner.
Dukes is on Beans.
Let's flash back to college real quick. Obviously, preview for Notre Dame this year. Obviously, all the polls have you guys at number 1 to 3-peat, which would be insane if that actually happened. But for you, who do you think is going to be the starting goalie? Have you had much chatter with the boys back up north?
I mean, regarding the whole season, preseason, that whole process, for sure. I mean, a lot of the leadership left the locker room with me and Pat and Dobson and Max Maniak, and then going back a few years, Tevlin was huge for us. Fake was huge for us. So a lot of the kind of the voices in the locker room left the locker room in this past year. So I wanted to be very involved and help them out as much as I could, obviously without overstepping. So I was definitely involved in, trying to help them, figure out exactly what to say or how to lead in certain examples. But I obviously trust, Rammer and Chris a ton. Ben Ramsey, I mean, not Rammer. But I trust Rammer and Chris a ton, and they've certainly waited their turn to be captains, being kind of the voices of the locker room. So not something I'm concerned about whatsoever. I'm excited to see what those two guys do on and off the field. Regarding the goalie position, I mean, we have me and Mick Lee both graduated, so there's 3 guys there right now. You have Alex F's a senior, or I think he's eligibility-wise junior, but senior class. Tom Riccardelli, junior class, but redshirted as well. And then Will Omach is a freshman from Boys Latin. So they got great options. I know they play in a few days. I don't know if they've necessarily decided yet. I intentionally didn't really want to overstep and be pressing guys or pressing the coaches saying, hey, like, who's it going to be? I kind of wanted to let that happen organically and not really get involved in that. But whoever it is, I have the utmost faith in them. I mean, I was fortunate to get a lot of time in my career, but I really could not have done what I was able to do without the support of those guys, behind me and supporting me in every single way. Like, if you look at any time out, the first 3 guys to come out and awesome. Get me were the 3 goalies, Mick, Tom, and Alex, for my last 2 years, and I attribute a lot of my success to them, because if I didn't feel the support that I did have from them, I don't know if I would have been in the right headspace going into games and anything of the sort. So whoever it is, I know that they have a great teammate and a great goalie behind them, and I have the utmost faith in whoever it is.
You got a player or two, like under radar guy, maybe didn't get as much burn just because so many guys ahead of him, that you think's gonna have a breakout year for the Irish this year?
There's a lot of guys. I mean, I don't know if breakout year would be the right term for Sean Light, but he's one of the best defenders I've ever seen in my life.
He's a given.
I'll say something really quick for Sean Light. That's my pick for Schmeiser this year. That's how good I think he is. I thought he was the best freshman defenseman
of all time. He was so good last year.
I mean, he, to my memory, got beat 3 times, and 2 of them were my fault.
Is that good?
It was 3 times the whole season. He's covering Shelley, Bundy, Spallina, Brennan,
all these guys.
Like, he's incredible. They got a lot of guys that have waited their turn.
Right.
I mean, Jake and Devin are back. I can't wait to go watch them and be on the berm at Arlotta, seeing my buddy who's 24 years old playing in a lacrosse game. But I mean, even Jake, though, I mean, he had not the best or not the most exciting start to his career, 2 ACL tears, and then came back and scored the biggest goal in program history, right? So even him having that opportunity and kind of make up for that lost time with the ACL or the ACLs, and Devin coming back from corporate America.
Yeah,
dude, what's up with that? Can we touch on that really quick? I like the Notre Dame strategy of upperclassmen just going to the workforce, and like Chris Conlon did it.
Shout out to Corrigan for letting all that.
Chris Conlon did the same thing. He just goes to work. He's like, oh my God, this 9 to 5 stuff sucks.
Let me go back.
Let me just go back to college.
Corgan, you're a legend.
Yeah, it's I love it. I'm not gonna lie, I love it. Just
I mean, talk about fresh lacrosse players too. Like they didn't play the whole fall. We all know fall ball.
Skip fall ball.
Yeah.
Do you know
I mean,
when Corgan's up your ass in February, you're just like, oh my God, I'd way rather take this than getting yelled at by my boss.
Oh my gosh, for sure. I honestly think that those guys bring a perspective that you just can't have until you graduate. I mean, I think that I really appreciated my time at Notre Dame. I think I would like to think that I was, a good teammate and didn't leave a lot of things unsaid or undone. But even with all that being said, like just being, I'm sure you guys can all attest to this, like not being back in the locker room, it's just, you want to be back so badly, and those guys have a perspective that you just can't have. Like you think you appreciate it until you're not there. You don't have to, and you're not living with the guys, or you're not just walking to class with the guys, getting breakfast with the guys, and all those things. Just that camaraderie level, you really miss it. I've missed it a ton. And so I think that Devin, and I guess Conlon last year, but Devin, I guess for this year, knowing what that side of things looks like and having the appreciation for being back. It's crazy.
Really ditched the suit and tie and picked up some pads again.
I like that. I can't wait.
Knowing what that side of things looks like.
Yeah, the return of the Mac. I can't wait. That's what we're calling it. The return of the Mac. I can't wait.
We got one more question for you. If you win this whole thing, you get a purse of $10,000 per person.
$10K a player.
What's Dr. Ent? What are you spending that thing on?
Man, I don't know. Rent. Oh man, I'd say.
What are we into? Clothes? I mean, what's a hobby for Liam?
It's funny. I'm trying to find a hobby because people ask me, "Oh, what do you do besides lacrosse?" I'm like, I nothing. Yeah. I'm just a complete lax rat.
Gotta get him on the pod more often.
Yeah, I know.
I'm trying to think what I actually would. I mean, probably rent.
Let's stick on.
Actually, I'd buy a flight to South Bend for
there you go.
For alumni weekend.
Some Notre Dame football
like
tickets
that.
maybe next year.
Yes.
I like that. Liam, thanks for hopping on. Appreciate you. Behind this couch, actually, we have a whole tub where Dukes and I will be hopping in next for Cold Tubs Hot Takes. Liam, what do we think about that? Is it cold?
A little rubber ducky. I like that. That's good. If it's cold.
Yeah, give it a feel.
That's real cold.
Oh, God. Cold Tubs Hot Takes
get
next.
That spandex on, Pelt.
Thanks, Liam, for coming on the show. Before we jump into Cold Tub Hot Takes, a word from our presenting sponsor. 𝐓𝐇𝐄 makes high-quality grooming goods for hardworking men. The type of men who put in an honest effort at work while taking care of their kids or playing lacrosse. From head to toe, each product helps a guy get ready for a long day or clean up after one. Use code PLL15 on 𝐓𝐇𝐄.com for 15% off your order. Or find 𝐓𝐇𝐄 grooming goods at Walmart, Target, and Amazon. Cold Tubs Hot Takes presented by 𝐓𝐇𝐄. These guys have hot questions for us. We're going to give our best answer in 60 seconds while in this freezing cold tub. Let's see if we can do it.
Oh! All right, here we go. Rapid fire, boys. It's quick. Best poll with a shorty of sixes.
Ethan Roll! Ethan Roll is my shorty without sixes.
Joey Spleeno. Hurry up. Next question. Go.
Who's a liability on defense?
Asher Nolte. He's like Luka Doncic out there.
Yeah, he's a big cat.
Biggest dark horse of the Champ Series.
Jacob Angeles.
Jim Stegny
Jacob
as a coach.
Angeles.
Jim Stegny
Hurry
as
up.
a
The next
coach.
question.
Who's going 0-3 and why?
Who's going 0-3?
And why?
The Atlas.
The Atlas. The Atlas of New York. Boston's better in every possible way. Boston sports.
Who's winning the Golden Stick?
Matt O'Keefe's the best shooter.
Marcus Holman. Maryland boy.
Who's winning the Golden Stick for the WLL?
Charlotte North.
Izzy Skane's the best overall player I've ever seen in my life.
Skane Train.
Who's winning the PLL Championship Series?
The Archers. The Archers.
Boston Cannons.
Mike Urizioni.
Marcus Holman. Golden Stick. Stamp it now. You're a squid.
Which team will win the WLL Championship Series?
Boston Guard. Charlotte North.
The New York Charging. Izzy Skane. Baby.
New York Squids.
All right, you guys are good. Get out. Get up.
We'll see you guys this Friday for the newest interview